Faye Smith. But she has to do the ballet later, so she just don't wear the tutu. So it's her uniform, right? So, all right, Mike is all yours.
Okay, hi everyone. I know a lot of you, I think. So today we're going to be looking through the veil at ballet. Ballet. And ballet has existed for far longer than we think, actually. It began as a dance for kings and queens, and gradually it became an art form for everyone to enjoy. Today we're going to uncover some of the stories and the history before you see a demonstration live and obviously on tape. So ballet as we know it today did not come about overnight. It began as a dance for kings and queens, most importantly Louis XIV, who was also known as the Sun King. If you guys can see in this upper right picture, that's Louis XIV in his Sun King costume. And he, as well as other figures like Catherine de' Medici, really valued dance above all the other art forms, painting, music, as a way to show their superiority as royals. They wanted to distinguish the royalty from the peasants through these very elaborate dances that were almost mechanical. They were very much like clockwork. You can see this picture on the far left. They weren't really invested in telling a story so much as sending a political message about how important royal people are. But eventually we did get some innovations, and the first one came from a ballet master called Jean-Joseph Noverre, and he began to make ballets with stories and emotions. These are called ballet d'action. You're going to see two examples of that today, both Swan Lake and La Bayadere. So these ballets d'action are actually the ballets that we think of when we think of ballet. When we think of Swan Lake or Giselle, or probably the one that is most famous today, the Nutcracker, it's kind of the holiday classic. These are ballets d'action. They really rely heavily on costumes and sets, but also pantomime to tell stories with the dancing. So it's more a mix of acting and athleticism to tell stories like, sorry guys, I warmed up my body, but I did not warm up my voice. So that's a lesson to all of you guys. So stories like Giselle. Does anybody know Giselle? Do we have a raise of hands? Yeah? Okay, all right. So Giselle is very much a story of a young girl's heart, her feelings, and how those feelings even transcend beyond her death. She still holds her loved one, even into the grave. And we have lighter-hearted ones, obviously, like the Nutcracker, which is much more a story coming of age. It's also transcendence into this land of sweets. So it's escapism, which is a theme in a lot of the ballet d'action. Swan Lake actually might be the most famous one historically, and unfortunately that one's pretty sad as well. You'll find that a lot of these story ballets end very sad, but they emphasize the power of love and how the spirit of love can carry you through difficult moments. As we moved into the 20th century and the 21st century, it became much more important how we could push the body. We've all been watching the Olympics, yes? Some people have been watching the Olympics? Okay, I saw two nods, so I'm gonna keep going with that. So particularly with our most famous choreographer from America, George Balanchine, you guys have probably heard that name, it became a little bit less about costumes and really elaborate set pieces, and more about how can we make shapes that are interesting with the body? How can we push the limits to be athletic artists rather than dancing actors? So you can see this image right here. It's actually made with 3 ballerinas behind a ballerino. And this is from a ballet called Apollo, which is one of Balanchine's story ballets. It is about gods, So that's similar to ballet's origins, but it was much more about how can we make interesting shapes? How can we make ballet both something for the heart and something impressive for the body to do? And that's how we moved into the neoclassical period. And in the neoclassical, so we started getting ballet stars from every walk of life. Every country started involving in ballet. We have one of our biggest ballet stars from America today, Misty Copeland, here in the upper left corner. She's phenomenal, and also a fantastic example of how you can have an artist who also pushes their body into these amazing shapes. And obviously we know some of these other ones. I've been told that you guys are very familiar with Sohi from last year's exhibition.
Yeah, last year's Walt Disney Concert Hall, that's Sumi Jo concert. So one of the ballerina.
Yeah, she actually trained in the same place that our own Jean Choi trained. So that's a little bit of exciting trivia for you guys. She's a principal dancer at American Ballet Theater, originally from South Korea. And in this lower left-hand corner, you can see one of my ballet icons when I was growing up in San Francisco, Lorna Fehu. She is from Cuba, and she had a very, very long career with San Francisco Ballet, beautiful dancer. She actually comes from a whole family of dancers back in Cuba. And in fact, Cuba, South Korea, Japan, some of these countries that maybe aren't the first that come to mind have some of the most phenomenal ballet training in the world. And let us not forget about our male dancers. I know we focus a lot on the women, but actually the men have their own distinct technique. They don't put on point shoes. Actually, that's not true. There are companies where men put on point shoes, but traditionally speaking, the men's technique is about fantastic jumps, physics-defying leaps and turns, and ballet wouldn't really be the ballet that we know it to be without our male dancers. And especially in today's environment, we have a lot of more emphasis on how do we give the men more to do, more stories to tell. There's a company called Ballet Truncadero, and that is entirely male dancers wearing point shoes, doing all the traditional stories that we know today, but male dancers get to have a much bigger role in that company. So today you're going to be watching La Bayadere. It's another beautiful, very sad ballet about love overcoming death. So in La Bayadere, our two main characters that you can see in this picture that's on the right, the black and white picture, are Solar, and this is actually Gamzati, but his love in the ballet, her name is Nikia. La Bayadere, the title, it means temple dancer. So Nikia is the highest dancer in the temple in this ancient Indian city, and she falls in love with the warrior Solar. But unfortunately, as with many ballets, jealousy gets in the way, and the high priest is in love with Nikia, and the princess Gamzati, who you see here doing the marvelous extension, is in love with Solar. And by the end of the ballet, both our main characters are dead, but they are reunited in the afterlife through their love. And one of the most important parts of this ballet, and a lot of the other ones I was mentioning, Swan Lake, Giselle, is what we call our white act, which is an act that usually focuses on ghosts or visions or things that aren't exactly what they seem. So in La Bayadere, Nikia appears in the white act as a vision of Solar after she has died. He's dreaming about her, he misses her so much, and we get this beautiful act of the entire corps de ballet, the entire chorus of girls, all dancing in unison in this very slow, controlled way. I think you're really going to enjoy that part. I hope that that part is in the video, fingers crossed, because it's my favorite part, so hopefully. Now I've talked at you guys a lot. I would like to have some volunteers, if I may. Does anybody want to come up here and learn some ballet pantomime? Can I get some hands? Yes, please come up. Wonderful. Can I get two more? So she's not alone up here on stage. Hi, what's your name? Milo, thank you. Yes, I see some of my students. Come on, come on. Hi, girls. You want to say your name into the microphone?
Caroline.
Perfect.
Grace.
Wonderful. Okay, I have my 3 baby ballerinas here. That actually was a name that they called 19th century dancers who were maybe a little bit older than these girls, but not much. They called them baby ballerinas. So, me and my baby ballerinas today, we're going to learn some pantomime, and you guys can actually do it in your seats because it's all using your hands. So the first thing, oh, yes. Usually when we're saying this, it's because we're warning a character, okay? We don't usually put people to death in ballet. That wouldn't be good, right, girls? Yeah, no, we don't want to do that. But we do want to warn them of how serious what they're doing is. So we say, you must not do whatever you're doing, or else you will die. Yes, and again, we're putting our faces into it. Serious. Nice. Grace is smiling. We're all smiling. Okay. All right, we'll shake off the death. Good. Let's learn a happier one. I don't actually see this one up here, but we use this one the most. And this one is inviting everyone else to dance. So we put our hands above our head. That's right. And we're going to circle with our loose fingers. We'll say, let us dance. That's right. So your wrists are going to be loose, right? We're not doing, yeah, right? Let us dance. Beautiful. Nice. Lovely. Okay. We'll learn one more fun one, and then maybe I'll invite some adults up to learn some actual ballet positions, because I think some of these girls already know them. So this one is when we're talking about marriage, okay? So let's put on our in love faces, okay? And we would say, I, him, or her, love, will you marry me? And you're gonna point to your ring. Go ahead, okay, we just learned a whole sentence, look at us. I should get Duolingo in here. I'm gonna get my own little app. Okay, let's try it one more time. So, I, him or her, love, will you marry me? And then the other person goes, no. Most important, we come back to it all the time. If you keep an open eye, you might be able to see it in the video or when we're dancing. First position. Very good. Obviously, you would use 2 arms. Beautiful. And I like to say you're hugging a tree. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. So me and my partner, Chris Flores, will be presenting you an excerpt from the Swan Lake Pas de Deux. This is during the White Act of Swan Lake. So in this ballet, the White Act is with white swans. And obviously, we have a couple who's in love, but they're also in pain. So I hope you guys enjoy this Pas de Deux from Swan Lake.
이쪽 보시니까 더 괜찮으셨죠? 다시 한번 스테이지를 보실까요? Let's just give it up one more time for Katie Faye Smith and Christopher Flores. 한 번 더 나와주시겠어요? Please come up to the stage one more time.